Hey, it's Roger at SwiftCloud, and I am inviting you now to play a game called Start a Business, which could be a side hustle or it could be a full-time business, whatever, and make $10,000 as quick as possible. I'm going to do it with you, and I'm going to record these videos and show you how easy it is to start one and to make some money and get things going. Now, I'm going to start a service-based business. Service-based businesses are easy to sell, harder to scale. And I say harder to scale because in my case, I'm going to start a video production company because that's a skill that I have. I happen to have a background in video production. I have that skill. Now, the skill could be anything. If you're a plumber, if you are a registered nurse, if you are who knows what, I have no idea what you do. But if you sell some sort of services, then SwiftCloud is a great tool for the job, and we're going to be using that, and I'm going to be showing you this as a way to showcase that, but it's applicable to really to any business. You could be a web designer, you could be a graphic designer, you could be a logo developer, you could be like any kind of creative person, you could be a painter, you could be a chakra balancer, you could be an underwater basket weaver. I have no idea what it is that you do, but what we need to do is plug into, connect to the people that value your service, right? And so presumably, if you're watching this, you probably have some skills, some service, and you're in the headspace of like, hey, I'd like to make $10,000 as quick and easy, as fast as possible, and as quickly as possible, right? So if that sounds of interest to you, then join me on this journey, and I'm going to lay down a challenge for you. So you're going to start the $10,000 fast as possible service-based business challenge. Now, let's say, hypothetically, that you do this, and then suddenly you make a bunch of money, you have a bunch of orders, and now you're busy. Right. So now you'll have a different problem, which is called time, right? Well, once you have the ability to generate the business, you probably are going to know some other people that are maybe like yourself, or maybe are looking for work, or maybe you could find some people that want a side hustle, want some extra money, and then you split it with them. And are you going to be giving up some of your money? Yeah, absolutely. But if you can set up let's say the apple tree, and then you keep getting the apples and you get, some other people. I'm kind of mixing analogies. That's maybe not a great one, but you get the idea is basically you can find some help to help with the fulfillment once you have the ability to generate business. That's actually reasonably easy because there's always a lot of people that are usually looking for work as long as the work is decently paid and fulfilling and interesting, right? And and if it's really demeaning work, let's say, whatever that could be, but let's say it's work that somebody doesn't want, then you have to compensate for it, right? So work that, like right now, where it's kind of going into this space where it is sometimes hard to find talent. But that's because a lot of the jobs that people are not willing to go to are kind of crappy jobs. They're like the jobs that don't pay well or people don't want to do them. And so they have to, like what's happened with COVID is basically this sort of great reshuffling, and people are sort of evaluating or reevaluating their relationship to work. So love it or hate it, it is what it is. And now the power has shifted more towards employees, right? And sort of people are defining that. So I say all of that because now is actually a great time to find people that want part-time, side hustle, stuff like that. And you can actually afford to, as long as you charge decent margins, you can afford to pay reasonably well and find something that's at parity and scale it up. All of that is this diversion to let you know, like, hey, if you get too busy, then just hire some help, right? And the next thing you know, you have a company, and the next thing you know, we'll have a different challenge called sell your company. And selling your company, that's an exciting journey because that's sold on a multiple of the business. So let's say you get that company spitting out $1 million a year. Even at $1 million a year, you're going to probably sell it to 3 to 5x, roughly. I have no idea what business you're in, but basically, let's say it's, 3x. You sell a company for $3 million. $3 million, if you're like most people, would probably change your life, right? And so you could start a business, get that up to speed, and then sell it off. Anyway, we're way ahead of ourselves and totally cart before the horse. What we got to do is take step one and get you to making $10,000 as quick as possible. Also, I should specify that this can work really anywhere. So if you're in India or Philippines or Zimbabwe, I have no idea where you're at. As long as your market values whatever it is that you sell, then great. And sometimes the less sexy it is, the better, right? Because certain things like movie stars, everybody wants to be a movie star, right? Everybody wants to be a professional musician. Well, guess what? Society may or may not value that very much. Whereas if you're something like, let's say, You provide janitorial services to cleaning business. It's easy to make money because they don't try and pay you an exposure like if you're an actor or a musician. Like if you're a musician, you go to a bar in Los Angeles where I used to live. You're like, okay, yeah, well, our budget's only $100 for the whole band, which means basically, and you get a beer. It's like it's a very poorly paid business until you have a big following, and then you can make a lot of money because it's very highly asymmetric. So whereas if you're a plumber, anybody who said, oh, I'll pay you an exposure and get you on the next one, they're going to be like, goodbye, right? It's like some of those service-based businesses are actually much more profitable, and it's easy to get that going. Okay, so we've kind of laid some groundwork here, but what I want you to do, now's the part where you just jot these numbers down. And what I have to do is, this is like day one assignment. And so what you need to do is come up with some what are called tripwire offers. Okay, so here on the page, you can see some numbers, right? And so what this means, I'm going to put this kind of on the side here. So what this means is, first we want to sell is to what's called a cold audience. These are people that don't know, like, and trust you. They don't know you from Adam. They don't know anything about you. And what you want to find is a product that you can sell to them. Could be a book, could be a report, could be a video on how you did something like that, for $7 to $17. And what they're looking for is like a shy yes. So in my case, I am a video producer, but for me to talk to somebody on the phone, I don't want to talk to anybody unless they're willing to spend at least like $1,000. I don't even want to hear from them. I don't want to talk to them. Do not call me if you think like, what can I get for $300? I'm like, I don't want to talk to you for that. Right? I want to talk to only people that have a budget of, let's say, $5,000 on up, right? Well, they don't know, like, and trust me. So at the beginning, we have to basically indoctrinate them. And what we want to do is create something called self-liquidating leads, which is where we're creating leads for free. This is the dirty secret, is that most sales funnels and sales marketing campaigns and stuff like that are not profitable out of the gate. And so what you have to do is come up with this way of selling some little products along the way to build trust, right? So people sometimes do this with a book, right? And so what'll happen is then they have like a traditional info marketing product funnel is, let's say, a book, let's say it's a free newsletter on the front end. That's like very, very front end. And it's a free newsletter, and it's like once a month or something like that, and indoctrinates them into their way of thinking and their belief about the world. And that, here's how you can get to this magical land called Oz, right? And then they have the book, right? And so the book would be a natural place for $7 to $17. In fact, you often see these funnels where it's like, hey, my name is so-and-so, and I want to send you my free book, and all you got to do is pay shipping and handling. Well, they're actually losing money on the book, but they're trying to get you to get out your wallet so that they can run the upsell sequences, right? And that's where we get into this other stuff. So what we'll do is we'll then come up with a product that's $7 to $17. Then we'll do something called an order bump, and that's $37 or $47, right? And so now, I'm giving you these price points because they're fairly proven, right? What's going to happen is, as they get more and more saturated, the world will change. But anyway, $7 to $17. So that could be a book. It could be a video. Maybe this is like, let's say this is a book. In my case, that's probably what I'll do, is I'll do a little mini book. It'll probably take me a weekend to write. It'll probably be 50 pages, and I'll sell it for $17 or something like that. And it'll basically be a conglomeration of various blog posts that I've made and just ideas that I have, and I'll just whip it out off the top of my head. And I'll make a separate video about this, right? But this video here that we're doing now is the overview of this journey, right? So $7 to $17, we'll sell it for $7, something like that. We'll have then an order bump, and that'll include, let's say, a video of me, and that's an upsell. And it's a video of me explaining certain topics, and also, let's say, it's a guide, right? Here, what we'll do is we have a 97 to 197 upsell. So here's our first actual upsell. So this one's called an order bump, and I'll go through this stuff later. What we got to do is figure out some product to sell that's like a productized version, right? So let's say you're an auto mechanic. This could be an advanced report on like the top 100 or top 50 most common problems with your car, right? And then this could be a video, let's say it would take some time to make, on how to diagnose the top 10, right? Here's what you look for is, does your engine sound like this, right? That would be an example of just something like this. Then this might be your first upsell, and it's related to the first cold offer. So it's 97 to 197. So let's say that this was a video on like if you're an auto mechanic, it could be the top most common issues, right? In this case, in my case, it could be the script helper tool. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing, is some sort of script helper tool that helps you actually write your script. And then what we do is we downsell it. If they say no, they don't want it, then we'll downsell it for $67. Okay. Then what we'll do is we go to the second upsell, which is $297. The downsell is 3 times $99, right? And so this could be the script generator tool, and this could be, let's say, a script generator tool, better version with video help, something like that. So far, notice what I've done is I've taken just conceptually here, is I've taken basically a service that I can do, and what I'm doing is productizing my knowledge. So let's say you're doing lawn care, right? Be like, okay, great. Well, here's how to, selling something about lawn care is probably going to be more difficult for $7 to $17. But what it could be is, let's say it could be a video series. You get a video series for $17, get a video series about the top 10 most common lawn problems, right? I'm just kind of, making up ideas here on the fly. $17, these little videos, and they're just little videos. It's like you run around, if you're already in the lawn care business, you just run around and record them with your video. Or with your phone. They don't have to be super highly polished. They're more about the information and the knowledge, right? And then here you have, let's say, a better version of it or something like that, and then an upsell. And then here's how to, our strange tricks of using household appliances or household goods, how to use white vinegar to cure milkweed, or I don't know, something like that, right? I'm not in the lawn care business. I don't know that much about it. We just pay some expert. So anyway, you get the idea. Is basically come up with some sort of shy yes, stick a toe in the water. I don't really trust you, but I will throw in $17 or $7 to start the process. And then they have the upsell from $97 to $197, and then the upsell for $297, right? So in my case, up until this point, once I sell this, I have some time building this factory, but I don't have to actually, up until here, I don't have to actually spend any time with that client. It's going to be automated fulfillment. It's going to be a completely turnkey system. So what'll happen is here, up till here, if I just sold this, I would actually lose money on the campaign. But when you include that, like a certain percentage, so like of everybody who buys this, let's say 10%, right? That's kind of even pessimistic, but let's say 10% buy this. And then of those people, another 20% buy this one, right? We start to ascend them up the value ladder, and they start to get more value. Well, that then changes the unit economics, and basically the income per visitor is what we're really doing. The EPC, to use earnings per click, right? To use more precise terms. Now, here's where the delineation happens, and here's where I'm actually willing to start talking to people. So what we're going to do is, like, even this part's going to be automated. So what we're going to do is a webinar about some series, and I don't know what that is yet. I'm going to have to figure that out. And so I'm going to come up with we'll have a separate video about me coming up with, okay, what could I sell that's related to this topic for $997? And maybe what it's going to be is like a 1-hour coaching, right? And I'll help you refine the script and the storyboard or something like that. So it'll actually be a service, but it'll be like a 20-minute sales video. That's probably what I'm going to do, because I'm doing video production. So this will be some sort of loose guideline that I'm going to use to sell, to create leads. Right around here in this journey is where somebody becomes profitable. So from here on down, this is all pure profit, meaning I've absorbed my cost of client acquisition. I've absorbed the cost of advertising by the time they get down past number 2, right? So here we get them onto a webinar, right? And the webinar is going to be, let's say, $997, $1497. We may choose to downsell that for 2 payments of $397 or $497, right? And then we'll have the 5K to 50K offer, right? And that's our main high ticket price offer. So if you sell consulting services, let's say you're in the chakra balance. Oh, by the way, this card is for Club 8. This is basically how, coaching entrepreneurs, perhaps like yourself, how to get to 8 figures, 10 million in net worth, right? So, and that could be 10 million euro, $10 million, whatever is important to you. Okay, so back to that. What we want to do is, of course, here's where I'm going to actually work with people hands-on, right? So if somebody wants me to fly to their office and work with them hands-on, or work with their ad agency, then we're going to generally start that at, let's say, $5,000. It's like, unless you can spend $5,000, we're not going to talk to you. This might be like, let's say, a 1-hour script consultation or 2 times 1 hour script consultation. And I'm just basically working remotely on my own schedule an appointment, and we generate a script. That's, I think, what we're going to do is part of that offer. And so what we need is I say webinar, right? So it says webinar, but really in that case, at this point, by the time they've gone through this, I'll have demonstrated enough value and that I know what I'm doing, which I truly do. I worked in television news and I worked in TV news. I used to be a professional animator. I can make videos, right? So anyway, point being is I know that world. Hopefully you know some world, whatever it is, right? Could be sailing, could be who knows what, right? Something where you're doing then, you ascend people up and you give them automated information. Then you switch to semi-custom. Then you switch to fully custom, like done for you type of offer instead of done with you, right? So that's, to said another way, this is all DIY stuff, right? And this is done with you, and then this is done for you. So kind of give some thought to that sequence. Okay, so if you saw all that and you're following along, then you probably want to play this game with me, and it's going to be an exciting journey. I'm going to show you how to set up every little thing along the way. And we're going to use SwiftCloud to generate the landing pages, to track our clients, to actually collect the money. And all of it's basically like, it's all part of it. And I'm going to give you, as part of this game, a free trial. You can try it out and totally make some money with it, right? I'm not terribly concerned about getting your money up front. I want you to jump in, make some money with it, and then you'll be like, hey, this is pretty cool. I'm going to spend money on this software. So that's one of the businesses that I have is SwiftCRM.com, and SwiftCRM is incredibly powerful only if you're in the service business. And now, if you're in retail, you run an actual retail store, you have a ton of products for sale. You have 3,000 SKUs, stock keeping units, actually items that you sell. Don't use SwiftCloud. There's other better tools. You use WooCommerce and Shopify and these type of Magento. There's dedicated systems for that are specifically for retail. Now, if you only have a small number of products, let's say you were a welder and you have a small number of, let's say, brackets that you sell. So these things are off the shelf and you have 10 products or something like that, then by all means use SwiftCloud because it's perfect for you because it's got things like the scheduling. It's really designed, it has things like invoicing. It's really designed for anybody who runs a service-based business to do everything they need. I mean, everything, like scheduling, accounting, client management, even your communication. So it's all time, date stamped and all that stuff. I'll give you a demo here later. So what I want you to do is just not get too hung up on the technology. I want to make it really easy for you to start a business and get things going and then say, hey, it's awesome and, make some money and we all win in this together. So if you sell services, you're not in retail, you're not in restaurant, you're not in something like that, then join me on this journey. And if you're watching this far, you're probably in. So that's your homework, is to think about basically all this stuff that I went through. What are you going to sell that's DIY and then done with you and then done for you, right? That's what you got to come up with some stuff like that. So that's your homework for the next lesson. See you then.